When I was a teenager, my brother spread lies about me that got me kicked out of my home. Years later, when my parents saw that I became successful, they suddenly wanted money from me, even though they had abandoned me before. Growing up with a twin brother, I felt like my parents favored him over me. They always thought he would achieve great things while I was labeled the black sheep just because I preferred sports and making friends to studying. They often compared us, which made me feel really bad about myself. On our birthdays, my brother got to have big parties with his friends, while I felt like an afterthought. He could even have sleepovers, but I was never allowed to invite friends over. Childhood was tough for me, and my grandmother was the only one who seemed to care. She'd bring me chocolates and sometimes slip me a little money so I could treat myself. As time went on, the favoritism turned into outright emotional abuse. My parents made fun of my grades and didn't support my hobbies. It seemed like no matter what I did, I couldn't make them happy. Even though I was good at sports, they wouldn't let me join teams because they wanted me to focus only on school, like my brother. It was really frustrating and made me feel like I had no control over my own life. In my sophomore year, I got in trouble for having Snapchat on my phone. It might sound trivial, but my parents flipped out over it. They saw it as a betrayal of their trust because they had forbidden me from talking to my friends. They went nuts, throwing my stuff around and even taking the doors off my hinges, saying I didn't deserve any privacy. But what made it worse was that my twin brother didn't have my back. Instead of supporting me, he made things even harder. He'd lie about me, blaming me for stuff I didn't do, just to get himself out of trouble. If he did something wrong, he'd blame it on me, and my parents, already biased against me, believed him. He'd also bully me in front of my friends and make fun of how I looked. Despite all this, I still had friends at school because I was friendly and outgoing. But my brother struggled socially, and he resented that I could easily make friends while he found it hard. His jealousy boiled over on our 14th birthday when no one showed up for his party, while my friends took me out for ice cream, making it a great day for me. This made him even more angry, so he started spreading lies about me at school, saying I was mean to him and spoiled because our parents favored me. Without me knowing, my twin brother took his lies to a scary level. He started hurting himself on purpose, giving himself bruises and black eyes. Then, he'd show up at school with these injuries, claiming I did it to him. He'd make up stories to go along with it, and when our parents asked, he'd lie and say he got hurt playing sports. His lies caught on fast, and soon, even my friends started believing him. I noticed things changing, friends stopped talking to me, and I wasn't invited to hang out as much. It felt like everyone was avoiding me because they thought I was a violent, spoiled person. One day, I finally asked my ex-best friend why she was acting different. She told me everything, how my brother had been spreading rumors about me, making up awful lies. Hearing that from her was like a punch in the gut. I couldn't believe my own brother would do something so hurtful. It felt like a huge betrayal, leaving me feeling sick to my stomach and heartbroken. I faced my brother the day after school, desperate for him to stop lying about me. But he ignored me, smirking and saying awful things. It scared me because his lies were getting out of control. I wanted to talk to my parents, but I was scared they'd believe him over me. Feeling alone was hard, especially since I always tried to make friends. It seemed like his jealousy-driven lies were ruining the connections I worked so hard to build. Even teachers started hearing the rumors. It felt like I was living in a different world, where people believed his lies over who I really was. Then, the rumors got to the principal, and I had to face my worst fear. The principal called me, my brother, and our parents into his office to talk about it. I sat there, scared, as the principal asked for the truth. I hoped my brother would admit the truth, but he stuck to his lies. He told the principal that the rumors were true, painting me as a bully who hurt him when our parents weren't around. I was shocked. He said I was jealous of the attention he got from our parents, which was all made up. My mom started crying, holding on to my brother like he was a hero. My dad comforted him, saying he was brave for speaking up. I tried to defend myself, telling the principal it was all lies, but my brother wouldn't stop. He kept saying I was angry and violent. My mom cried more, giving me accusing looks. It felt like I was fighting against a wall of belief in my brother's lies. The principal scolded me, saying the school wouldn't stand for bullying and that I'd be suspended for 10 days. I begged him not to, but he said it was necessary to set an example. I pleaded and cried, telling him I didn't hurt my brother, but he wouldn't change his mind. My parents were furious and embarrassed, dragging me out of the office despite my protests. When we got home, my dad started packing my things. I was shocked and confused. I begged my brother to tell the truth, but he stayed silent. My dad said I couldn't live with them anymore because of what I'd allegedly done. I begged him not to throw me out, but he wouldn't listen. He said I didn't deserve to be there and that my grandmother could come get me if she wanted. It felt like a nightmare. Feeling like my world had collapsed, I stood there stunned, surrounded by my belongings strewn across the foyer, kicked out of my own home. Eventually, my grandmother arrived. She helped me gather my things and sat me in the car, making sure I was safe. Then she marched to my parents' door and let them have it. She warned my dad that if he ever bothered me again, she'd get the authorities involved. My mom tried to blame me, but my grandmother wouldn't hear it. She stood up for me, saying I didn't deserve to be treated like this. It was the first time I saw how strong she was. She didn't back down from my parents, and she believed in me. Leaving my home behind was heart-wrenching. I felt a pain I can't put into words. I just cried and couldn't eat, even though my grandmother urged me to. I told her what my brother did, and she was shocked. It was a relief to have someone on my side. When my suspension ended, going back to school felt like facing a nightmare. People judged me, whispered about me, and gave me nasty looks. My brother acted like I didn't exist, making friends with people who believed his lies. No one wanted to hear my side of the story. I was alone, labeled unfairly. In class, in the cafeteria, everywhere, people looked at me with disgust. I became a loner, keeping to myself and going straight home after school. I had no friends, and it seemed like nobody wanted me around. My parents never called to check on me. My grandmother kept reminding me it wasn't my fault and that things would get better someday. I graduated from high school with good grades and looked forward to college as a chance for a fresh start. Finally, away from the constant scrutiny and comparison, I found freedom. I made friends and focused on enjoying the college experience. During this time, I discovered my talent for writing. Though I had always dreamed of being a writer, I wasn't sure if it could be a stable career. So I started freelancing on the side to earn some extra cash. It turned out to be a success, and I built up a portfolio of work. After college, instead of pursuing a traditional job, I decided to make freelance writing my full-time gig. With loyal clients and steady work, I became financially independent. This career also gave me the freedom to travel, which helped me heal from my past. It wasn't easy, but I saved money and took a leap of faith in myself. Over the years, I've traveled far and wide, but my grandmother has always been my rock. She was sad when I moved out, but she understood I needed to be independent. Despite my busy schedule, I made sure to spend time with her on weekends. We'd share meals, chat on the porch, or go for walks in the park. Recently, I finished a big project for a major brand. I can't say who, but it was a huge deal for me. I asked my team to leave positive reviews for me, which they did gladly. I shared some of these reviews on my Instagram, and soon, other writers were congratulating me and spreading the word. Then strangers started reaching out for help with their websites. Even my relatives noticed my success. Eventually, my college's principal asked me to speak at a seminar about being a content writer. I was nervous, but I decided to give it a shot. Speaking to a crowd about my journey as a content writer felt like a milestone. I shared my struggles and successes, hoping to inspire others. Some of my clips went viral online, which was a nice surprise. Then, I was invited to speak on a local news channel about content writing. It was nerve-wracking but exciting. I talked about my experiences and the power of appreciation. Sharing my story with a wider audience was both humbling and thrilling. After the show aired, I shared clips on my Instagram. That's when my relatives started realizing how well I was doing. My parents had never talked about my success, so they were surprised. A few days later, my mom called me out of the blue. It was strange after years of silence, and I wondered why she was calling. Mom, hi sweetheart. We're so proud of you for all your achievements. Me, thank you Mom. Is everything okay? Dad, yes, everything's fine. We just wanted to catch up with you. How's life? Me, life's good, thanks. Keeping busy with work and stuff. Dad, that's great to hear. By the way, how much are you earning these days? Me, I'd rather not discuss that. Dad, come on, we're family. You can tell us. Me, I'm doing fine, Dad. Mom, that's good to hear, honey. You know, things have been tough for us lately. Me, suspicious. What do you mean? Mom, well, your dad's job isn't going so well, and money's been tight. The conversation left me feeling uneasy and suspicious. Me, okay. Mom, your success has given us hope. After watching your TV interview today, we thought maybe you could help us out by paying for the renovations. Dad, after all, we are a family. You shouldn't hesitate to share some of your earnings with us. We can really use your help. Me. Are you serious? You're asking me for money after ignoring me for years. I appreciate the congratulations, but I'm not going to help you. Mom, you're being selfish. Family should support each other. Dad, we're your parents. You owe us. I was furious. Instead of arguing, I decided to teach them a lesson. I told them I'd help if they agreed to my demand. Publicly admit that my brother lied about me spreading hurtful rumors. Dad, what's your demand? Me. You have to admit that my brother lied about me in front of our family and friends. They were shocked, but I stood my ground. It was time they faced the truth. When I told my parents about the condition they needed to meet before I could help them in the future, things got tense. Dad questioned why admitting their mistakes was necessary, while Mom thought we could sort it out privately. But I insisted it was important for them to own up to what they'd done. Dad argued, saying it was my duty to help family, and Mom appealed to the years they'd raised me. But their pleas felt hollow considering they'd kicked me out before, leaving Grandma to raise me. I stood my ground. If they wanted my help, they had to come clean publicly, and my brother had to face consequences for his actions. Since then, they've been blowing up my phone, but I'm not answering. I'm starting to regret even reaching out to them that day. Am I wrong for not wanting to help them anymore? It's been quite a whirlwind since I last updated you all. The support and kindness I've received have been overwhelming and comforting. Knowing I'm not alone in this means a lot. It seems everyone agrees that I shouldn't engage with my parents or consider helping them after what they've done. I set that condition knowing it was nearly impossible for them to meet. They're too devoted to my brother, and even if they found out the truth about his lies, they'd never treat him like they treated me. Today, my brother sent me a hurtful text after our parents tried contacting me again, and I ignored them. Here's what he said. Hey sis, it's been ages since I've seen you, and honestly life's been better without you around. I heard about the ultimatum you gave Mom and Dad. They'll never agree to it, you know. They never really cared about you, and they'd never do anything to hurt me. My brother's message hit me like a punch to the gut. His blatant disregard for my struggles and the conditions I set was shocking, revealing his lack of empathy. His attempt to guilt-trip me, especially by highlighting my unmarried and childless status, was deeply insensitive. His suggestion that I should prioritize their needs over my own well-being was not only offensive but also showed how little he valued me. Filled with frustration and a need for justice, I decided it was time to take action. I sat down to write an email to my parents and close relatives, laying bare the painful truths of my childhood and the unfair treatment I endured in our family home. I described the harsh and oppressive atmosphere I lived in compared to my twin brother's treatment. I detailed the malicious lie he spread about me in school, which had devastating consequences for me. I also recounted how my parents had cast me aside, leaving me with my grandmother as my savior. In the email, I included a screenshot of my brother's message admitting to lying about me. It was a clear confession that I hoped would finally expose the truth. I sent the email just an hour ago, and I know there will be repercussions once my family reads it. I'll keep you updated on their reaction. It's been quite a month since my last update, and things have been tumultuous to say the least. As expected, my family reacted strongly to the email. Relatives who were unaware of the extent of favoritism and mistreatment voiced their criticisms towards my parents. Many reached out to me, apologizing for not being there for me earlier. My brother and parents bombarded me with increasingly abusive and threatening text messages. Fed up, I sought legal help. A lawyer sent them a cease and desist notice, warning of serious consequences if they continued to contact me. My brother and parents bombarded me with increasingly abusive and threatening text messages. Fed up, I sought legal help. A lawyer sent them a cease and desist notice, warning of serious consequences if they continued to contact me. It seems to have worked because they stopped reaching out. It's been a couple of months since my last update, and I'm thrilled to share that things are looking up in my life. My content writing business is booming, with more invitations to speak at seminars and podcasts coming my way. It feels good to be recognized and respected in my field. My bond with my grandmother is stronger than ever. I recently took a week off from work to spend quality time with her. She's really into gardening these days and has been teaching me all about the different flowers and herbs in her garden. Whether we're sharing meals, having deep conversations, or simply enjoying each other's company, these moments with her are the highlight of my days. It's a relief that my family has respected the boundaries set by the legal notice, giving me some peace of mind. On a personal note, I've begun therapy, hoping to embark on a journey of self-healing. This will likely be my final update for now. I want to express my deepest gratitude for all the support and encouragement you've provided throughout this journey. Thank you.